Hello everyone, welcome back to Protect and Persevere. Today's video is actually kind of inspired by Alpha Charlie Concepts. Also the guy that makes UW gear, chest rigs. I'd highly recommend his channel. Awesome dude's been putting out content and videos for years, and I've looked to a lot of his videos for inspiration. And he actually just put out a video, and I believe it was called like Gear Chat Potential Mistakes for the Unprepared Citizens, and this is kind of totally a spin-off, so it's not really like a response to it or anything, but it got me thinking. And that was, he was basically the conclusion and the summary of what he was saying was that don't set up your gear specifically to be good at training on the flat range. So don't go out and like, this gear is specifically made to where I'm really fast, all cool and high speed at the range, when in reality you should have gear that's good for actually performing tasks in the field or for whatever purpose, because they're not totally the same thing. Not that he was saying that flat range isn't good for anything, because he stressed that, hey, the flat range target practice, you're developing basic marksmanship and all these other important skills. Just don't make that what you kind of set your equipment up to be doing. It should be, you have gear that helps you perform a task and to survive what the future may hold. And then if that gear happens to be good, just going to a class or just training, that's ancillary or tertiary purpose. And yeah. So basically one of the points he made was how battle belts or war belts or whatever have been kind of pushed heavily by a lot of people, and that's kind of like the go-to for just like I don't know if we would really say the unprepared citizen, just like, hey, you're getting into it, get a battle belt, and stuff on it. And there's kind of like in everything, there's pros and cons. You don't ever want to take one extreme or the other. And the way he was talking about it, and he was basically saying how on one hand, you should be concealed carrying, but at the same time, if you're out in the field for multiple days, you're probably not going to have, a lot of people don't run a handgun, or in the infantry, most people aren't even issued a handgun. And people take extreme stances either way. And then some people say that I always have to have my battle belt, my high speed kydex mags, and my gun. And then and they're like, I have to have it. You have those people, and then you have the other side where people are the exact opposite, and they're like, I think battle belt has no utility whatsoever, and you shouldn't even own one. And like a lot of things in life, usually there's a good spot in the middle between those two extremes. And I'm not saying what his thoughts were on any of that. I'm just literally rambling off of that. But it got me thinking just about, I've never really talked about what's my battle belt or whatever setup, or gun belt, whatever lame term you want to use for it, just because first off, it's not really that sexy or cool or new flashy thing. And also I've still to this day debated the same things he was debating, how much utility does it have for our unprepared citizens. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it, my thoughts, and how it all works out. Now, first things first, I think that obviously a handgun for the unprepared citizen is, first and foremost, it'll be the thing that you concealed carry or open carry, or mainly it's on your body in everyday life, whether it's going to out and around town or whatever. You should always have a gun on you, in my opinion. And so for that purpose, I'm gonna just have a appendix rig. There's a T-Rex armed one, and you'll see all the ones you see on here, all T-Rex arms, not because I'm shilling for them or anything. It's just either I found it on sale, or it was the only thing I knew about at the time. And I'll probably end up actually changing to a different holster, not because there's anything wrong with it, it's just because I've kind of fine-tuned what I want. But yeah, so this is just a simple appendix rig. You could rig it to carry an extra mag, but yeah, appendix rig. Could also be worn at 4 o'clock. And I think that's probably the first thing of importance for the unprepared citizen, is just your carry gun and your concealed holster. And then I always run, well, careful when you say always, because that, you don't ever want to say always or never, but typically I run a Core Essentials. They're concealed carry gun belt. I like it just because it can ratchet and tighten on the fly. So if I'm gonna be walking around and everything, I can tighten it up, and then if I sit down for a long period or whatever, I can loosen it up. But yeah, solid belt. And that is kind of, I would say, the first kind of part of a gun belt type thing that actually, is very important in day-to-day life. But you don't see a lot of people training that. Well, you see some people training, but that is something that you should train from, at least from a dry fire perspective. So going up from there, we have what I would scale up to is more of a kind of outside the waistband setup, where this is less concealed carry, more just carrying it either around the homestead or whatever, or underneath a jacket or shirt. And this is more of a overt way to carry, but it still offers a lot of uses in real life. So this is a Segura Gear emissary belt. So it's just some heavy 2 layers of scuba webbing, I believe. A nice heavy duty brass buckle and eyelets. So very good stuff, will last a really long time. And honestly, around the farm and stuff, I really like this setup. And right now I have a T-Rex Arms iron side in their mag, but honestly any type of outside the waistband 3 o'clock holster mag would work. But this offers more speed and access versus just running an appendix rig, and it is a lot more comfortable. I don't know how many people have tried to walk more than a mile with an appendix rig, or like chop some wood or whatever, but this is a lot more comfortable, and it's not that expensive. It's not like some 2-piece system that's with Velcro and all. It's literally just you route this through your pants, and and this belt can actually carry a decent amount of weight. I've actually run it more like a drop leg holster, AR mags, and it holds up pretty well. And this is kind of what I would call like a level 2 gun belt setup. Alright, so going up from there, this is what you'd call more of your traditional war belt or gun belt or battle belt setup. And the reason I haven't really talked about it that much is, first off, like I said, it's not super flashy. It's legit I believe it's a Tacticon belt that's on Amazon, so it's 100% Chinesium. But at the time, a lot of people were like, hey, this is a cheap belt, but it works pretty well. And it appears to be a ripoff of another Chinesium belt made by Condor LCS. Main difference being that the buckles are a knockoff Cobra buckle, which I've never had any issues with them so far, besides one time I didn't close them good enough. But that's why I haven't really talked about it. It's not some high speed belt, which, like I was saying, part of it was because I didn't want to invest a ton of money in something that I didn't know if I fully believed in, for utmost importance for the armor-prepared citizen. Now, I probably will upgrade in the future, mainly just because I've had this dude for like several years now. It was literally the first piece of equipment I bought back in the day. And it's seen some things. But, there's some deterioration on it. It's not that stiff. There's not really any integral, stiffener to it. And it is a kind of overbelt system with some padding, which I actually don't mind that. Over a 2 belt. I wish it could flex to both, an over and a 2-piece. Like it could kind of flip flop, which that'll probably be my next. What I'm gonna invest in is a belt that can kind of transition and be a little bit nicer. But that's the one thing about we were talking about usability. Is a 2-piece belt might be nice, but a lot of people, they're gonna be already carrying and they just need a way to throw over gear. Upgrade, I'll probably still stick to this same kind of setup, and I'll go ahead and talk about it before I go into more philosophy of use. So first off, I mainly I don't have that big of hips, so trying to carry a ton on my belt, it's kind of hard regardless what type of belt system it is. So I just have a happy mag for my handgun and a rifle. Primarily, my thought process is just, if something's really going down, I'm either going to throw on a plate carrier or a chest rig or heck, even a bandolier that's going to have more rifle mags because, rifles are better than handguns if given, choice between one or the other. However, I can see this being a rig where maybe I'm wearing this all the time and I don't, want to throw on a heavy, LBE system or whatever. So I still have a fighting chance with my handgun, happy mag, and then maybe if I have my rifle nearby, I can grab that and, I have a spare mag for that. And I have a TRX Arms med pouch. Like I was saying, I'm not saying this is the best med pouch, but actually, I just bought it back in the day for the heck of it. And that way, I always have some medical on me, even if it is just the flat range, whatever. Accidents happen. But also, it'd probably be a secondary thing to. This one could be my personal IFAC, but I almost always carry medical on my, either my plate carrier or my chest rig or whatever. So I would actually have redundancy there. And then this is just a classic TRX Arms Ragnarok. Like I was saying, I'm not trying to show for them. Just it is what it is. I will be upgrading to a different holster, not because there's anything wrong with this one. I want a little bit more retention and protection. So I'll probably be going with either like a level 2 or level 3. But yeah, just your classic whatever over holster. People argue about Kydex versus flapped. It's whatever. The main thing, like I was saying, is I'm not some high-speed operator. It's just mainly just, if I'm around the homestead and something, I might not be on security. I might legit just be, I don't know, chopping wood or gathering water or whatever. I want to have some capability on me that's scalable. So now going into more my philosophy of use. So before I give my final thoughts on whether or not I think it's a battle belt or whatever is a good piece of gear to invest in, I'm going to talk about how I would incorporate it and going around and whatever. So like I was saying, you're going to be typically wearing whatever way you conceal carry, or maybe you're already carrying outside the waistband, depending on the situation. So theoretically, in Minecraft, you could scale up if you're running a overbelt system, you could, just throw that on whatever you're wearing. Take your gun out of your whatever other holster, put in that, put your thigh strap on, whatever, and now you have capability. And this would be relatively similar to if you were wearing, let's say, a Velcro inner belt, and you would just, lift your shirt up or whatever, and align the belt and then clip it. So, but either way, you get the picture. So now you have some capability that you can scale upon. You can throw armor over this, armor on top, chest rig, whatever. Now, one thing I kind of want to lead off of that is, well, I used to, back in the day, I used to think, well, this would be a great, system to throw over if something ever happened, like a response, a respond rate. But then you kind of get into it where it's like, if I really think I need a more overt way to carry a handgun, pistol mag, rifle mag, and medical, how come and I'm probably going to go on and grab a rifle with this, wouldn't it almost be more, advantageous to grab, say, like a chest rig or a bandolier or a responder bag, whatever, with like more ammo for your rifle, whatever, or if it's really that bad of a situation where you need your tactical belt, maybe you want to grab armor first, so maybe you have a built-out plate carrier, or whatever. Maybe you have to go somewhere really far and you want to throw on, belt kit or backpack, or whatever. There's a lot of scenarios where this would not be the first thing I would throw on. Maybe it'd be a nice thing to add, like I was saying, armor plus this, it's a pretty nice system, but, is it the first thing I'm going to grab? So all that being said, what are some reasons? Because like I was saying, there's usually a good spot in the middle, between always having it and it's useless, is I could see this being advantageous for, first off, like I was saying, if times have gotten bad enough to where you're always going to want to be overtly armed, like around the homestead or your community, maybe at a checkpoint, whatever. Even if you're not, directly being the security element, maybe you're just responsible for, I don't know, preparing food or carrying water, whatever. You might want a way to carry comfortably all day while you're doing stuff, protection, medical, whatever. Maybe a radio pouch, whatever. You have some capability. And then going off from that, you actually are the security element. So maybe while other people are doing whatever, or maybe you're the night watch, you have a comfortable way to, back up whatever you're running. So maybe you're wearing, your traditional static, secure, armored security, your plate carrier, your helmet, you got your rifle, your handgun, you got all that stuff. And this could go into that. I guess also vehicle stuff, this would be a nice setup. And then finally, the tertiary ancillary thing, it would be flat range training. A lot of people market this as a great way to get training. Like I just approach that is that you have all these realistic things, or not necessarily realistic, but I guess they could be realistic, whatever. You have all these things you want to be prepared for that happen, then you want to get geared to help, be better suited to do that. And then there's flat range training. So it crosses over into that, but not the other way around. This is not directly made to where I'm really, good at the range. It just happens to line up. And if it is good, then it is. Whatever. But now kind of going to the negative, or not the negative, but is that this was not only always be the thing I want to wear. So for instance, if outside of those scenarios that I listed, there are much better ways of carrying stuff. So for instance, if I just need to carry mags, why not just a chest rig? If the situation's bad enough, to where I need a rifle and I'm, going out and doing stuff, why not a plate carrier? And a lot of times if you're wearing a chest rig or a belt kit or whatever, it's not very efficient or whatever to carry a handgun out in the woods or in a field where you're walking around all day, because this system, and maybe there's there are better belts out there, no doubt, you still don't see a lot of guys running a battle belt out in the woods for multiple days at a time. Typically, unless besides wearing a belt kit, you want to keep your belt line clear so that when you're walking and stuff, it's not. Yeah, there's a million different reasons why you don't want to wear a handgun out prolonged periods, unless you absolutely have to. And if you absolutely do have to have a handgun, you could carry it, in your chest rig, on a holster, on your belt kit, whatever, or just throw it in your pack. But yeah, so basically, in short, those are kind of some gun belts that I have set up. Try not to have your gear set up for just the flat range. Set it up for what you need to want to be prepared for, and then train with it. And then if they cross over, they cross over. But yeah, I hope y'all like this video. Go check out Alpha Charlie Concepts, and stay safe out there, and God bless.